Hey crew, we're live.
Yo.
This is so super uncomfortable for me. I've not ever done a live before. Like I've done videos and then post them. So if we stutter, the biggest problem or the biggest, I think, biggest challenge is to not drop F-bombs. I'm pretty good at that. I mean, we might, like you said, we come from small town. So it's just the way that
I don't mind an F-bomb.
I don't mind an F-bomb.
So
I could see him just be like F-bomb, 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 So anyways, welcome to our new podcast and live stream. This is Leah. I'm Sandra. We had created this. It's called Creating You in the Universe because we create our own reality. Yes, we do. And I know everyone says, oh, I know that. I know that. I know that. But do you really? And do you do it?
I know that.
You do know that? I know that too. But as with everyone who knows how to do it, do you practice it on a daily level?
Daily level, daily practice.
Daily practice.
Moments. Are you welcoming these opportunities to really create your universe?
Right.
To create your own you and your expression of you in this universe.
Right.
So that's where the name kind of comes from.
Right. And then I was helping some friends with their lives, and then I realized that I'm going through a block or a segment in my life that is rather uncomfortable and
an opportunity for growth.
Opportunity for growth. See? She's the expert too. But realizing that it doesn't matter if you practice this stuff on a daily level, if you teach this stuff, we all, no matter if you're beginning or advanced, we all run into those blocks of things that if something is kind of stuck or there's
feels uncomfortable.
And
yeah.
When we say feels uncomfortable, it's like
testing, man.
Oh.
You think what I've noticed about self-development is we all have tools and different avenues for self-development, whether it's, something like what we talk about, mm-hmm. or maybe it's more religious and traditional. But these things come up to test us over and over. It's not that these challenges go away. It's that you get a new opportunity to rise, to come to that, the new conclusions, to put into practice what you already know, to really hold yourself in integrity of following a light or a path that will elevate your experience of your universe.
And if you don't, you will get the same lesson over and over again.
Yes.
And it turns into the Groundhog Day effect, which I talk about a lot. Yeah.
Groundhog Day effect, this idea that your shit's not going away.
Right.
It's there.
I already went through this shit.
You can bury your head in the ground with the hog, but it's still going to press you. It's still going to come up, and everything expands. So whether that good in your life expands, or if the negative, that you're not going to those places that feel a little uncomfortable or testing. So this is Sandra and I sharing our own expression, our own soul self of what it means to create you in this universe, what's helped us, and to be completely vulnerable and real of where we are maybe right now or where we have been. Mm-hmm. Because, whether it's social media or your favorite celebrity or coach, everyone goes through their things. It's an illusion to think that the person who shares only positive stuff on their feed doesn't have stuff that is challenging in their lives. They just might do better hiding it, right. Or they just might do better at using their tools, holding themselves in integrity of their values, and rising to the occasion of going through it rather than being pressed by it. What?
I'm just keep going.
Yeah. So.
I couldn't have said that myself,
Yeah, who are we? I'm Leah. I'm friends with Sandra now. We met 10 years ago. I'm a mom. That's my number one job. I've fully embraced that this past not quite a year. Not that I wasn't a mom before this year, but like full on, I'm not working in the matrix. I'm just going to follow my love. And this recent love is diving deep into being mom, staying home instead of being like, how am I going to do, work or whatever those things are. Anyways, I believe myself as an intuitive, a good friend. I find myself, that's something I like to think of myself highly as, is the people in my life I love to love. I love to hold space with. I love to watch and celebrate them. Yeah, that's a little bit about me.
I have to go now?
Yeah, tell us who you are.
This is uncomfortable.
For now.
For now, no. I love it. I'm having so much fun. I'm Sandra. I'm a mom of 4 and a wife to an awesome man. And yeah, just completely on a different career path and life path, but not really, because this is what I believe I'm supposed to be doing, which is helping people, guiding them to the power within. Teaching. I don't like the word teaching in this aspect, but it's more guiding, more giving them that outlet, making them think about things that they haven't thought about before, helping people get unstuck with things, just becoming the best version of yourself. And a couple of people have said, well, what does that mean? The best version of yourself is living that life that is beautiful, that we all came here and were designed to do. This life is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be exhilarating and fun. We have bouts of moments where we have the sorrow and the sadness and stuff, but that's just to heighten the fun and the exhilaration. But I find, and as you've probably seen in the world right now, we're like epic levels of depression and anxiety. So when people say, I say things like, you create your own reality, and everyone's like, yeah, I know that. Do you though? Do you have anxiety and depression and things like that? I had that since I was a little girl, and I found my way out of it. But it's like, if you know that you actually create everything, then how could you have that, right? Like because then, is that what channel you're choosing to live? Is anxiety? Is that fun for you? I mean, it's not fun for me. I know so many people that, like good friends and family and stuff, that have that, and I just go, I would go crazy. And realizing that it's only been a short period of time since coming out of depression and anxiety, and finding those tools that help me get out of it, and going, but once you're out of it, you couldn't even think about going back into that depression, anxiety, because that's like, why? That's no, but a lot of people just don't know. They say they know, but they don't know. They don't know.
They might truly not know, or they might just appreciate, the reminder here on this weekly podcast of like keeping us in check, that community accountability, because you do know internally, there's somewhere inside you a knowing that either what you're doing isn't working, or that that maybe you're stuck in a loop, right? That you do know better, but like, what's that missing piece?
Like how do you change your life? How do you get out of it? Yeah.
And so for myself, in sharing this podcast with Sandra, something that I really enjoy sharing about is honestly a reflection of myself, because in my beliefs, we all are a reflection of each other. And so I know through my years, like I'm still a registered massage therapist. In my years of
we got a thumbs up. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
Hey! Sorry, go ahead.
In my years of massage, it's never an accident what I'm going through and what the person on the table is going through. We share something in common. There's these greater themes in life. And so I just like to be honest with where I'm at, what that self-reflection has brought up for me as I sit in these places, and maybe even be honest in sharing some of the tools that help me keep going forward, because that's basically for myself what life has been. And I feel successful in that manner because I keep going up. I keep doing better, or experiencing better, or having more abundance. Like, this is truly real. And the more that I've honored myself and my heart's calling, the more I've seen the fruits of how I'm creating myself in this universe.
this podcast and live stream is definitely going to be some very emotional or just very vulnerable things about us and where we've been, and like I said, I'm going through a huge transition in my life right now, which is huge. And I do have to say this, time out for a second. I do not have cancer. I appreciate everyone who does. I have alopecia. I used to wear wigs. I still wear wigs because they're fun and fantastic, and there's certain places to go. And I really had to come into my own, and because I used to go bald from when I was really young, and then some really shitty things happened, got me to put the wigs on. So I'm just coming into my own too, of being like, well, what do I want when I'm talking to people? Do I want to have wigs or do I not? And then I was like, no, I want to be vulnerable, and in order for me to be vulnerable, the wigs came off. So I appreciate everyone reaching out, and I know that's been one of the biggest questions I've gotten, and then people feel like they always need to. I'll take your blessings of health for sure, but I'm good, So I just wanted to say that first.
Could even be a future topic, like hair.
Yeah, hair. And how important it is, because people don't realize how much you're judged on hair. But anyways.
And that's coming from two white people.
Right. Right?
Yeah. So we talked about who we are a little bit. I mean, as you were talking, I have a husband too, or a spouse of, 12 years? I love you. Yes. Who we are, what we're here to do, what we're here to talk about, and I guess I want to go into how we met. Or just the fact that we know each other.
I'll say one more thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, our intention for this is to help whoever needs to help, maybe guide you, inspire you. Just be that space where it's free to be you, and yeah.
And I invite anyone who's watching to also share your inspiration. Maybe not maybe, you guys inspire us. It's not an accident what we're sharing. So if you're resonating, if you have something to build on, it could help us. It could help the next person watching. This is not an accident of how you co-create your universe. It's not just an individual thing. As much as individual is very much you're accountable, there's magic in community, and we welcome that.
Yeah, 100%. I've always wanted to do this, and then if I hadn't have gone through the transition I'm going through with career and things like that, I wouldn't have had the space open for this, which allowed all that.
That is huge. Right? If you know Sandra, one of the things I know about her is how busy she is with career, with business management, putting out fires. Honestly, that has been a huge part of your time, and it's very recent that I've noticed you as your friend, that you truly do have more space.
I do. It's lovely, and I'm having so much fun. I love my life. I'm, and that's going from the space of being like totally stressed and just unhappy to just being like, no, everything's great, and having so much fun. So yeah, back to us.
Okay, so friendship is today's topic. If you're curious, we come up with these topics intuitively guided. So whether it's Sandra and I writing out the description of the video or what we're talking about, we're doing our best to come from heart and a sacred space.
Yeah, it's not written. It's, as you can tell, it's off the cuff. But yeah.
So today's topic is friendship, and it happened on the weekend that Sandra was writing about how she chooses to talk about whatever video she's doing, because she has multiple avenues that she's expressing herself, working with kids and creating videos. She's got books that she's written and is currently writing.
Yes.
But she starts from a space that she mentioned, what would you like me to share? And kind of talking to a higher power, a source, whatever you want to call it. Today we'll call it the universe. And when she wrote that out and I read it in my head, the first thing that came, like if this was a question that I was asking myself, was, let's talk about friendship. And so we've been friends for about 10 years. We met in 2013. It's now 2023. We started out more on a professional basis, and then it bridged into friendship.
Right.
And so friendship to me is something that's important. And our friendship is fluid in the sense that we're not talking necessarily in this 10 years every week or every month. But we've still managed to hold a relationship where we stay together. And so I think whatever you're creating in your universe, our mental health and how we feel supported, or the things that bring us up or bring us down can be influenced by community and especially friendships.
Yeah, how are your friendships in your life? Do you have good ones? Do you need more? Do you have one-sided friendships where you're giving and not receiving? Because everything in life is a transaction, right? Everything, whether it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to come back from the person that you gave stuff to, but if you only are giving to a friendship and and then nothing is reciprocated back ever, then is that a friendship, right?
Mm-hmm.
And friendships are fundamental. I don't have a lot of friendships, and those of you who know me know that I have very tight friendships, almost like sisters, right? But I have acquaintances and I have sisterhood.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that friendship, if that makes at all sense. And that could be that I've felt in my life very um
It's
very different,
yeah,
different thoughts, different opinions, and then going to express how I felt or how I was, and then people like just feeling like I was uh not judged per se, but just was like, oh, you're not my cup of tea kind of thing, if that makes sense. So then they just disappeared or whatever have you. So I've kept my circle very, very, very tiny. I won't even say small, it's very tiny. But the love that I have for those tiny relationships, which are massive
Big.
relationships, are is beyond to the. It's like those are my soul because they've been in every life thus far and will continue to be right there.
Mm-hmm.
But could I use some more friendships? I don't know. Well, you're used to not having them, right?
Well, I think that's an interesting question.
Mhm.
I think it's, do you desire that? Is that something you're longing for? Because what I hear in an age of technology is a lot of people are desiring more friends because the friends that they have are distant or non-existent. It kind of comes down to desire of what are your needs being met. So is your friendship circle, you don't need a lot of friends to have a good life. It's
Right.
not like a numbers game, in my opinion.
Right.
Like for myself, it's only recent that I feel like I have a lot of friends. And could I say that some of that is more acquaintances? I could. But I feel like where we align in our values, that's how we met and it created almost like a community.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't like that for me always. Like I feel like in my own life, friendship is probably one of my biggest wounds. It's been a wound. I would move around every single year up until grade 7. So I had to make new friends every year, a new school every year, new dynamics of social people. Some of these schools, they grew up together. So you're coming in as a new person trying to fit in. Um, and for me, I found I wasn't authentic in my friendships. And that's ultimately where my friendships came crashing to feeling alone, is because I was having these one sided friendships. I was sacrificing myself. I don't even know if I would say sacrificing. I was really being in service for other people, but not feeling like those needs were reciprocated. And so to me, that's not the friendships that I was desiring.
Mm-hmm.
What shifted for me in my life, it took a few years. I believe it doesn't have to take a few years, depending on how much courage you have.
And resistance to things you have.
Yeah.
And blocks. Yeah.
Was showing up authentic. So when I started being, to me, authentic is saying things from the heart and being you. When I started saying things that I've been meaning to say to my friends or these people that were supposed to be my friends in my lives, a lot of them dropped like flies. That applies to family too. When you are honest, when you are truthful, not in a mean truth, although sometimes it probably came out that
Sometimes
way.
It can come across that way. It's just, it is what it is.
Sorry.
Right.
It cleared the old because the ones that were here for the process of getting to know me and allowing myself to show up as me, they were here, like Sandra. Actually, with Sandra, I probably always came close to showing up as me, especially as we truly developed a friendship.
Right.
But for the ones that maybe I started from school and wasn't exactly myself because I had this fear of losing friends. For one of my big triggers is abandonment, having nobody loves me. That's one of my things that I've worked through and likes to come up and just test me here
Slap in
and
your
there.
face
Yeah,
once
like,
in a while.
oh, you feel that?
Remember me?
Yeah. The more that I was authentic, the more that I followed my passions, what brought me joy, the more those friends showed up. So for me, those joys were, I love hosting moon circles at the time. Not so much now, that's more of a personal practice. But at the time, I desired sharing that space with other people. I desired knowing more people who would like to show up in that space with me. So I created that space with this idea, you build it, they will come.
And put some nuts in there.
Welcome to Scoop Dad Snack Shack. Now let's get to grubbing. Now that's grubbing.
That's good.
And so that was the start of finding friendships that were in alignment. So I guess there's a tip right there. If you have something that you love to do, do it. And if you feel like having do it. If you feel like having company, open invite. Let the people in your acquaintances
in your circle find you.
Yeah, find you. Or if you're feeling extra bold, there are so many platforms or community groups or online groups. If you're feeling bold and you're feeling safe, because that comes with risks,
Right.
Do it.
So I think more people in this day and age are so caught up with the amount of friendships that Facebook and all the social media says that you have. But the point that I think we're coming around to it is developing your core people, because if you have real, authentic love and friendship, that is, you need that to basically survive through anything, any kind of ups and downs. If you don't have that fundamental core of friendship, of authentic people in your life, then yeah, that can make a spiral, because all of a sudden you go and post something. For instance, this is a sensitive subject to a lot of people, but I see this a lot. A lot of people post about sobriety, and this is one of the things that I want to talk about in another segment. But they post about sobriety and they're like, I've hit this goal and I've hit that goal. And I look at the responses back, and most of them are genuine. Oh, congratulations and things like that. But what if nobody wrote you back?
Mm-hmm.
What would happen to your sobriety? Would anything? Are you strong enough to not have those people? Does
outside
that make sense?
validation.
Outside validation, because I find that we're like, oh, I need that. But if you don't have that, what will that life be like for you? So it's really letting go of the number of friends you have, and really finding your crew that are with you through thick and thin, and they don't even celebrate your sobriety with you. They come and tell you, I know how you're doing in your life, and I've seen how far you've come, and I'm so proud of you, every other day other than your sobriety. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm having a conversation go through my mind. You asked what would happen if you put, yourself out there about, we're using sobriety right now as what you're winning on. you're proud of, and what would happen if nobody responded. Like, I think of different options of what could happen if you had no friends. Like, absolutely, you could be in a place where you are strong enough. Absolutely. But is that everyone? No.
Is that everyone?
No, definitely not everyone.
And we want to get you to the point where the answer to that question is, yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm proud of me. And I don't know how many people with the social media and the external validation can say that right now. And so that's something that I would love to be able to help people with, that they honor themselves where they've been through, and they don't need those outside voices and outside opinions.
Yeah. Deep things that we're bringing up here.
And I didn't even know we were going to talk about that, but that's just one of the things that I say, that I see people, and I'm just like,
I'm thinking of a phrase right now. If you want to go farther, go together. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go farther, go together. So you can get to these places by yourself. But in everything in my life that I've worked, that I desire going the distance with, I can only get so far alone. That's me. I know myself. And I've come to recognize, as a human being, it's maybe in my primal brain, that my community, whether that's big or small, this idea of community is really important in how I show up in the world. It's made a difference in how much joy I feel. It's made a difference when I'm having bad days. Bad days. Going deep places.
Deep places.
That it's faster. Sorry, I get out faster. I have these people that are checking in on me. I have these people that are a reflection of myself, that inspire me. They don't even have to be there. I'm watching them. They're my inner circle. I know that we are experiencing some variation of the same thing.
Well, it's funny, like, being in a really dark place, or like you just kind of want to lay down and you're not feeling your best self, and you might not be in a state of attracting anything good to yourself. I've been there, and then all of a sudden, all my core will just be like, hey, I feel you today. What's going on? Hey, and I won't even be posting. I'm not a big poster on social media. I mean, I am sometimes, but how did those people find me? How do you know I'm feeling like that? But that's how you know you got your crew, right?
Yeah, I call it the psychic phone call. They pick up my psychic phone call. They text me at the right time. And I think that comes into the magic of where you're getting to when you are creating, like, I'm just using the title, You in the Universe.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry, my mind went blank there.
I'm blank too, so that must be that there's no more messages coming through at the moment. So thank you for tuning in, for all of you. And we always want to send out blessings to everyone. And yeah, what do you create? How can you create you in the universe and become the best self, that your blessed self?
And is there a way that you're doing that with friendships? Are you noticing how authentic or truthful you are in your friendships? Is there tools that you found have brought those core people in your life? Or is there trials and tribulations that your wisdom? Like, I'd like to share one more wisdom that I've learned.
Yeah.
Or even put into practice, is an absence of a friend doesn't necessarily mean that they are being a bad friend. Sometimes they have their own stuff that they're going through.
We all have our own stuff.
Yes.
All the time.
And I feel like that's something that's helped us be successful in friendship, is that we haven't necessarily been a daily or a weekly friend in how we are, hey, buddy, what's going on today? Do we have bouts of that? Absolutely.
Right.
But it's not taking it personal if we went a few months or many months without being as active and right there, because we might have something
like, oh, she
else
must be
going
mad
on.
at me. I don't know. She's not writing me.
Or, it could be that they have health. It could be that they have anxiety. It's just holding space for people to be people. And honestly, I found having courage to be that first person to put myself in a vulnerable position to say, hey, how are you? That has helped those friendships that have distance to come back together, is being that first person to say hello if that's what my heart desires.
Yeah, and as I've talked here, the purpose of me bringing up depression and anxiety is because it was something that I struggled with. I don't even want to know how long. So it's not that there's no judgment here with us. It's knowing where we've been in our life and the tools that we use to get us out, or tips that were given to us, and that we want to pay it forward and share to help other people, because there's a lot of people who are unhappy in the world right now. And it's just our calling or our intention to help you in whatever way we possibly can.
Yeah, for myself, as I've gone through, you know, the word that you used just now is unhappy. When I say I'm unhappy, because I've had this last week or two where I'm going to darker places and choosing not, like, a lot of the traditional terms are anxiety or depression. And for myself, whether it's right or wrong, I have a lot of resistance to those words. It's a name, it's what people are going through, it's real. But for myself, how I've liked to normalize it is I'm feeling deeply. Your feelings are valid, they are normal, and I like to tell myself that instead of putting myself in a box
In
and
a box,
and
a label.
And when I hear these labels of depression and anxiety, for myself, how I communicate that in my brain is there's something wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, no,
We're not happy. We don't feel good.
to me, that is not wrong. To me,
Right.
in my own beliefs and how I talk to myself, absolutely get help from a doctor. We're not doctors. Do the doctor thing legally, that's what I'm going to say.
Right.
But for myself, how I feel deeply, I'm feeling deeply. To me, those are regular signs, flags, getting my attention to process something. Something is not right. Something is giving. It could be diet. It could be my friends. It could be ancestral. It could be past life. There are so many places we could go. So yes, people are feeling depression and anxiety, and those terms are real and they are actual responses. But for myself, I like to tell myself that I'm feeling deeply and go those places. So in the last 2 weeks, I have felt deeply. And sometimes I find in my own process it's necessary to go to those places and feel it. So if it's with a friend and I'm feeling abandoned, sometimes I just feel that before going forward. It's part of the process. So that I can have that light bulb go off of, hey, I'm triggered because when I grew up, I had a lot of abandonment issues.
Right.
It's not my friend's fault. This is me.
And another thing is what you were talking about this earlier. I don't know whether it was on camera or off, but what you are feeling or what you're doing and being in your life is a reflection of others, right? So if you're having a friend that's not there for you or things, then look in that friendship and say, did I do something or am like, you know what I mean?
Am I being there for them?
Am I being there for them? And is it a reciprocated friendship?
Yes.
Or and it doesn't necessarily mean that each time you have to think that something is, oh, they're mad at me. It's not about that. It's just put out to the universe what you want to receive. I mean, how many times have we been told that? Do unto others as you want. And I'm not I'm a spiritual person and not biblical, and I don't know if that's a biblical term, but do unto others as you have done to you. So just that's one of the fundamental things is, how are you in your life? Are you cutting someone off in traffic and then fingering someone as they cut you off in traffic? Because everything is a creation of everything we've done. And I don't think people really get how deep that goes. If you're mad at someone or flip off the finger, I guarantee you in that day, someone did the same thing to you. It's literally
I'm hearing like a loop,
mm-hmm.
A feedback. So
right.
A loop of, I feel like a call on leadership. Are you going to break that loop? Are you going to break that pattern and be the inverse of whatever you are not enjoying in your life? And so that is the law of polarity. That's what we're kind of talking on, is how I know it, this reflection idea of each other. Either we are reflecting the same thing, like Sandra has something and I have something and we're both like la da 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 da, I'm loving life. We both have that thing that we love. Or in the law of polarity, even with your biggest enemy or person you're upset with, notice that it could be the inverse. So they have something that I desire, or vice versa. And that could be affecting even how we show up as friends, because we could be, if you're letting your ego lead, you could be jealous. You could be feeling like, I desire that. I find a lot of in friendships, in my old friendships, it was difficult for people to celebrate my wins. Or sometimes, I'm going to be honest, as I see them winning, letting my ego take over and be like, I want to win.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And I've said that if you're not reflecting that out in words, then you are reflecting it in words. And we were talking about that. That's something that we want to help people get over, is that women are very competitive. And is that from our caveman days or wherever? I don't know, but it doesn't need to be there, because if we're not that it's not fun to be competitive, but if you're too competitive, then your friendships will go, because you see something that you want that they don't have, or you spiral in and say, oh, I'm not worthy of that, or
I'm
look
not
what
worthy.
they do, I don't deserve that, and things like that.
Yeah, self-comparison, comparing yourself to others and putting yourself down.
See how it all ties?
Friendship,
all ties
man.
Together. Yeah.
And so in my best friendships, there's enough for everyone here. I've heard it called the sister wound. Instead of being there for your sisters, in your community, in your tribe, and knowing as a fundamental of life, scarcity is something created by what I like to call the matrix. The box that we're all supposed to live in and be by. There's not enough in this earth. What about me? It's a sister wound. It doesn't have to be there. There is enough for all of us, and I love celebrating her wins. And I know that just because she's winning, that doesn't mean that I don't win. I get a lot more authentically being there for my friend, and know that even if we're pursuing the same thing, like we are here now,
then level up with them, right?
Level up with them, or recognize that you are you in this universe. You have your own frequency. You have your own voice.
And then and then silencing the ego and being like, hey, you have this that I really want. What are you doing? Can you give me some guidance? I've said that to 3 people this week, 3 different people. I've never said that before. Hey, you're doing that really well. I'm kind of struggling with this. Can you help me? Can you tell me what you're doing? And they're like, oh, I've never done that before. Okay. And you'd be amazed at the openness that creates, just like you are, because we're all here to teach each other and help each other and guide each other in our own ways, right? And instead of being like, oh, she got that, or she got that job I wanted, or whatever, be like, how did you get that job? Because I would like to have a job like that, and embrace that. Congratulations on your win. How can I be like you? And that will change everything, right?
Yeah, over and over, what I hear from you, Sandra, is a call to leadership, a call to be that bigger person, to lead with your heart, to allow yourself to be vulnerable, and actively choose differently, rather than being, in those deep feel, depression and anxiety places. Yeah. So that's our topic on friendships.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. So let us know about your friendships. If you got some long-term friends, if your circle's big, if it's small, if it bothers you.
Change it.
Yeah.
What kind of friend are you? What kind of friend would you like to attract?
What do you appreciate in a friend? I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to hear if you're like me and you have your own friendship wounds. But thank you so much.
Thank you. Be blessed always. And
enjoy creating you in this universe.
Yes. Bye. Be blessed.